until things hit me like a ton of bricks, that how exactly men perceive the women and how they behave, their behaviors are so strange. I was always perplexed as a child as to why like my dad was always so silent, and I didn't realize that men do speak a lot in the silences, and you need to pick up between the silences what they're trying to convey. If you notice things like American football, where they signal each other to do certain types of strategies to win the game, it turns out that a lot of their behaviors are they work like that. Men read subtle hints, actually look at, because they're visual, they look so much at your body language and your subtle behaviors, and then they don't say anything about them, which is strange to me. It's very few men that actually point it out. Men tend to stuff it all down and not say much about it. And the only reason I have any clue about any of this is due to my own connection with my masculine side. A slap in the face, because I had no idea there was so much going on that side. It's almost like looking at the world through two different polarities, the masculine and the feminine. And the masculine and the feminine polarities are also reflecting, it doesn't mean that it's just men and women. It's just the masculine, which is more yang-ish, and the feminine, which is more yin. Because of his presence and his ability to have connected with me is where I've learned that men read subtle hints and signs. I had no idea. I was just like the other women too, who had no clue that men do this sort of thing, and do read the signs of the physical signs of the body. So it's the same with obviously sexual relations as well, where they're reading the hints of the body. Now they're not very good at it anymore, and that's because a lot of times what has happened is that they have suppressed that primal hunter instinct. It's still there, just lurking behind. And so when they do get instincts about what they feel through subtle body language, they suppress it. And the whole thing is that they need to restart looking at how trusting their own ability to read the signs. It's the same with women, by the way. I only pick up signs or signals. It is very much an alpha thing. I don't really see it always happening with others, but for me, because I'm an alpha female, I tend to read alpha signs very easily. Even the littlest gestures tell me a whole story. So the man's body, the way he's sitting, the way he's looking, the way he's moving, his you know, every little, doesn't have to say very much, but just with the voice and a nod of the head, a turn of the head, anything is enough for me to get signals, and also to figure out whether he is secure or confident. And this is what we're looking for: security, confidence, safety in a man. Most of the time it's not like that. I do not pick up any of that from most men. They tend to have been have shrinked back, don't want to do anything with anything, and generally men who are alpha male, well, they won't get threatened by me, because obviously they know how to handle me. They have more of a light attitude, they're relaxed, they don't feel threatened, and it's because they are reading my body language. A confident woman, one that's secure and grounded, doesn't have any fear of or of being challenged. What for? Or a woman who is stable is not going to be one that's going to be offended by anything. I mean, offending is someone who hasn't grown up yet, and that's really what it is. But until men kind of get themselves back into that instinctive hunter mode, but it doesn't mean that I don't talk back, and I just do it in a nice way, or in a way where I'm not being misunderstood. And generally a man who is confident, secure, will take that advice in hand, and ones that don't generally right away tell you that they are nowhere near being an alpha male. They are just wallowing in their own self-pity, or in their own lack of power. So to how do we how do we get into this? How do we understand these signals or these subtle hints from either side? And the way to do it is to go into your own polarity. The deeper you go into the feminine polarity, like I have gone into my own feminine polarity, the faster you will understand, it will come to an understanding of the other side of polarity, because one falls into the other. It doesn't mean that I'm going to be a man or be transgender or anything like that. It just means that I get to a point within where I have reached a level, a tipping point, where you start to recognize yourself in the other. That's how it's done. And it's the same with men. If they go into such a strong, their own polarity, to their masculinity, to seek it, to look for it, to define it, to get their power back, to start to gauge themselves, to find their aggression, their primal, their hunter, to accept their violence, to accept anything that society says it's not. Just go into it. Go into it from the inside. Find out why. Find out, get comfortable with it. Don't deny the devil. Go into it, because what happens is once you've experienced everything, you come out to be richer, more beautiful, more experienced. You've got knowledge that you can use. And lo and behold, something so strange happens, that you fall in love with the female, not just one. You fall in love with the entire archetype. You fall in love with it just happens. It's spontaneous. It's beautiful. It's the same when you go into your very deep into your female polarity. You just fall in love with the masculine. It just happens. It's a flowering of some sort. It's a wholeness. One bridges the other because it's all the same. Opposites, aren't they? So you fall right into the opposite in a grand love affair. And this falling into the other is what is going to give you the power and the tools to be able to recognize that the other one is like the hints, the subtle hints. You're going to recognize the movements, you're going to recognize what you're looking for. Everything will become clearer. You will be able to understand them better. You'll be able to see differently, see through them, and be able to really come to an understanding. Otherwise, you will never get to it if you're just looking for a relationship that you just want because you're bored and you're lonely. You want to be alone. You're not interested in really meeting that passion, that fire. And my suggestion is to demand from the universe the full love affair that is owed to you. Do not just settle for anybody, anywhere, anything. Don't do it. You are betraying your own soul. It's better to wait and to keep tempting and biting back with the universe and just keep going, demanding your dues. Because otherwise, and this strengthens your own personal power as well, your relationship with the universe as well. So I would suggest that you don't settle for less. Just keep going, your own polarity, which will lead you into the opposite one. And you finally be able to understand what has eluded us all, that men like to be quiet and women like to talk. But so what? We like that. We embrace that. But it's always good to find out what the heck is going on in the other gender's mind. It's very strange. My whole interest obviously is in the masculine and feminine polarities, which is the natural wheel of life. And I don't understand any other genders. The rest of them are just a manifestation on a lower dimensional level of what's happening in higher levels. Higher up levels, there's huge possibilities, and obviously beings that are genderless, which are in the same body, but it doesn't matter. we are here right now in third dimension, and some of us are between the third and the fifth, and we are exploring the polarities here for now. And the only way to understand the other one is to go into your own, and suddenly a whole world opens up. So does a grand love affair that you can be a part of.